DZRJ now brings you an interview with one of our newsmakers.
Yes, I'd like to welcome back to our program Deputy House Speaker Erin Tañada. Erin, good morning. Your colleague, Congresswoman Mitas Magsaysay, we had her earlier, and of course, we were of course talking about, Erin, these resolutions which the House minority plans to file. Are you familiar with this, Erin?
Which one? You were choppy, David.
Right. The House minority plans to file several resolutions calling for the investigation of several of the cabinet secretaries. Are you aware of this?
Well, we are not, no, but we welcome any resolutions calling for the investigations of cabinet officials. If there are any anomalies that they feel were committed, it's right. It's a sign of a healthy democracy. But I hope it's really substantiated, so it wouldn't waste the time of Congress in going into this. I think this is part of they launched an anti-cronyism watch. Our position there is, as long as everything's substantiated, there's nothing wrong in holding our public office accountable to the people. This is, as a matter of fact, is what the campaign of President Aquino: good governance, transparency, and accountability. And we should not shirk from this issue. And if they have any evidence, then let's proceed. This is the only way to even check. It is the role of the opposition to check whether there are any violations that were committed by any government officials.
Right. Obviously, Erin, you were one of those at the forefront. You have very strong sentiments and very strong conviction with regard to cronyism during the Marcos regime. That is very clear. And you're highly respected for that, for being staunchly against cronyism. However, can you safely say, for example, in this administration, that the criticism of kakampi, kaklase, and kabarilan is true or not?
Well, there's nothing wrong with kaibigan, kaklase, kabarilan. It's a cute way of putting the new term called cronyism. The thing here, we have a culture of putting friends who we trust in offices because we know that they're good for the office. Now, the problem comes, it becomes a problem when these people we put in places of responsibility do not do their work. Right. Or abuse their power, and this is where the test of our government comes in.
Right.
We should hold them accountable for any abuse of power and punish them accordingly.
Right.
And if they don't do anything wrong, if the so-called kaklase, kamag-anak, or kaibigan are doing their work according to the law, so I don't think there's any problem. It is when they abuse their power that it becomes a problem, and that's where we should hold them accountable.
Right. Speaking of abuse, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Erin, one of the alleged abuse cases obviously revolves around Land Transportation Chief Virginia Torres, for example. The Justice Department has already recommended that a thorough investigation be conducted, and she is still under investigation, and yet the President has reappointed her in a way, or lifted her leave, and she will return, in fact, as LTO chief. What about that?
I think right now, based on the reading of the newspaper reports, I haven't seen the report of the Department of Justice with regard to this, or the recommendation that was given to the President. But what we know right now, she's under preventive suspension. Now the question, of course, is to find out what did she actually commit? Was there a violation of the law? Was her presence in the area tantamount to an abuse of power? Was she just witness, or she was just standing by while everything was happening? Is that considered a principal or an accessory? That would be up for the President to decide, but it can't be denied, of course, through the cameras that she was there. Now, was she violating a law that she was present? That is for the judgment of the DOJ based on other facts that have been presented, and it would also depend on the recommendation of the Department of Justice. I wouldn't know. I haven't seen the recommendation, but I agree. She should be made to explain, and she should be held accountable. I don't think, David, it would not fall. It's not that I'm prejudging the case, but
sure.
If you would compare what Ms. Torres has done based on newspaper reports, based on what I read, and what former Bureau Correction Administrator Mr. Jokno has done, I think there's completely a difference in situation. So this is what we have to look into. What did she actually violate? At this point, I have really no knowledge on the process of the investigation that went through, but she should be made to explain.
Right, but just for a matter of the delicadeza, Erin, not even getting into overly legalistic issues here. The fact is, the president already announced that she is going to get back in the saddle, and yet the investigations are not over. Just on a matter of delicadeza, Erin, do we have to go through all that legal gobbledygook for somebody to step down? Is it that difficult nowadays?
Well, delicadeza, I think, David, depends really on the individual, on how she views delicadeza. It's on a person-to-person thing. Some people hold delicadeza very close to their heart, and if they feel that any mistake, no matter how small it is, make them, give up their offices. Some people, no matter how big the mistake, stay as long as they can.
Right.
So it's a personal and voluntary thing, and and it depends really also on how she presents herself to the president. So now with the president doing that, I wouldn't really know. I'm not part of the thought process. I did read the whole report of the DOJ, so maybe the president saw something in the report. I wouldn't know. It's hard for me to prejudge, or to cast judgment on this case. But I agree that maybe she should have just still kept quiet and wait for the whole process to continue.
Right, because talking about being legalistic or not even having to go through that legal process, for example, take the case, for example, in America right now, Congressman Anthony Weiner. Weiner. Okay. Of course, people call him Weiner nowadays, but that's a joke, of course. But in the case of Congressman Weiner, for example, he refuses to resign, and yet right away his party mates and even the party leader, the Democratic Party, is all over him, insisting and demanding that he resign, for example. In the case, for example, of former IMF chief Dominic Strauss-Kahn, he resigned. I mean, that probably didn't have anything to do with his work as IMF chief, so it has nothing to do legalistically with his job in particular, and yet he just resigned. So that's exactly what I'm talking about, delicadeza. If you don't want to resign, your party mates are going to force you to resign. I mean, there's this sense of a collective sense of morals and ethics.
Well, the problem is Rich Torres is not a party mate. He's not a member of the Liberal Party. So no matter what we say, she can just disregard it and not even consider it. So that's the problem also here. I would agree with you if she was a member of the party that we can make noise and we can speak against it and pressure. But again, it boils down really to what the person really thinks and how he feels. Like you said, the congressman in New York refuses to, despite calls, because he feels that he had nothing, he didn't do anything wrong, but of course he shamed his own office and maybe his constituents, so it's going to be a voluntary thing, just the same as when we called for the resignation of President Arroyo in 2005. We can shout and demand, but in the end, it's a personal decision on the part of the president whether she should or she should not.
All right, let's move on, Erin, to one of your favorite topics, obviously, which is the RH bill.